This is a protective hold.
It's a great hold for newborn babies and babies of all ages. We put one hand over their chest, the other hand under their bottom, and just lean them back. They can rest on your chest with their head under your chin.
This is a carry hold. This is for infants who are unable to sit but have neck control.
We put one hand under their bottom because it can support them under their bottom, placing the other hand on their back just to give them that extra support and so they feel secure.
This is the hip hold.
It's a good hold for the older children who can sit themselves up and support themselves. Just holding them on your hip, only needing one hand to hold them, and when you're getting in the pool you can actually use your other arm hanging onto the rail and you've got your child supported on your hip as you walk down the steps into the pool.
This is the extended hold or the vertical hold.
It's a good position to, they start off close in your body, bring them away from your body, gives them a bit more independence, and they can start getting used to the motions of the water, moving around without you holding them so tight and so close.
This is the prone hold or the front hold.
This hold is, we use it in the newborn stage. Our thumbs are hooked over their shoulders and we cup their chin and their cheeks in the V of your hands to give them complete support, making sure their faces aren't dipping into the water. And as they get older, moving into baby one stage, just moving our thumbs down underneath their arms and on their chest. You can hold onto their chest and that gives them a little bit more independence as they're swimming.
This is the prone hold or the side hold.
We start the babies in an extended front hold, facing away from your body. Bring them back into your body, lying flat on their tummies. We want their chins close to the water, your elbows up high and bending your knees so you're down at their level.
Once we're here, we always come round to the front so we can see the infant's face. This is so we can see where their mouth is to the water, and if we see them swallowing water or their face dipping into the water, we can lift that up straight away. This is the progressions of the back float. First, there is a secure hold, which is where the infant comes on the shoulder of the parent. Make sure they're supported on the shoulder with also the cheek to cheek, and make sure you're bending your knees to ensure that the ears are in the water. Also, you've got a hand over their stomach to add support and under their bottom or their legs. This is also a good position where you can still talk to the infant as they can hear you.
From that position, we move, as they get more confident with their floating, we just slide them down your body, down onto your chest. We have one hand under their back for support and the other hand can just go under their neck and their head. Keep their head touching onto your chest, and standing up you can look over them, looking into their eyes so they still know you're around, still feel secure. And as they get even more confident, just moving your hands both under their backs and pushing them out, extending them away from your body, both hands supported over their backs, thumbs over their shoulders, floating in the water.
Teaching your infant breath control begins by teaching the parent the trigger.
We can do this in a number of ways. We use a set number of words that the baby will learn to recognise and understand. We can say their name, Emma, are you ready, go. And just tipping the water over their back of their head, making sure it's not coming over their face. Another way, we can just simply count, Emma, 1, 2, 3. And once they're comfortable with those words, you will actually see them responding. They will blink their eyes, do a big long blink, they will hunch their shoulders up, open their mouth, copying you. So once you see a response, you know that they've actually learnt the trigger words and they are ready for some water over their face, they are ready for a little face dip.
Once we have learnt the trigger, we now progress to the mat to learn some basic dipping.
So sitting the babies on the edge of the mat, leaning their toes in the water, knees over the edge. We use their name, always using their name. Emma, are you ready? Go. Bringing them in, just their shoulders and their chin. Turn, telling your baby, turn, turn, turn. Where's the mat? Kick, kick, kick. And reaching up to the mat. So we don't dip their face in at all and the first until they've learnt their cue. Once they've actually learnt to have that breath and responding to your words, we can then do a little face dip. Emma, are you ready? Go. Faces in and up, turn and straight back to the mat, kick, 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 and reaching up to the mat. Once we're on the mat doing our dipping off the mat, we want to make sure that we roll them straight off the mat down towards the water and into your shoulders. When we take them off the mat, if we're going to do a big jump up into the air and then down to do a dip, the babies are going to have a breath up the top and not be ready to dip by the time they come back down. So making sure when you dip them off, Emma, are you ready? Go. Roll them down towards the water, little dip, up again, and turning back towards the mat. We can progress from doing our dips off the mat to doing some dips off the wall. Sitting up on the wall with our feet over the edge, leaning forward. If we're not sitting independently, we need to give them some support on the wall, holding onto their back and their shoulders. Leaning forward over the edge. Emma, are you ready? Go. Rolling forward, little face dip, up, turn and kick, 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 back to the wall and reaching up to the wall, getting ready to climb up again. So help them to sit up. Once they've got that independent sitting on the wall, you can give them a little bit of support, just a little tiny bit of support, helping them to fall independently into the water. Are you ready? And turn, kick, 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 and back up to the wall. Once we're sitting independently on the wall, if they're not ready to fall independently into the water, we need to hold their hands, guide them into the water. Are you ready? Go. Face dip, up, turn and back to the wall, reaching up. The reason we hold on to their hands is to give them that extra bit of help coming off the wall into the water. If we don't help them into the water and they launch themselves into the water, hitting their heads on the wall and just falling in. So we want to prevent them hitting their heads on the way down. Getting into the pool, our safe pool entries. For those children who can actually walk, you're quite okay to hold their hands, walk them down the steps, holding onto their hands until you get into the pool where you can pick them up or help them on their feet anyway. For those babies who can't walk, we need to put them on our hips and our hip fold that we spoke about earlier. Your hand onto the rail, holding onto the baby nice and tight, and holding onto the rail as you walk down the steps and into the pool. Nice secure hold.
This is a safe slide-in entry. To do this entry with your child, they must be able to sit in independently. This is done by one hand close to the infant, your other hand across the infant, and the parent slides in with the infant in front of them in case they do fall in, and the parent can lower themselves down with the infant ready to come into them nice and close.
Another entry we can use to get into the pool is a jump-in entry. We can only use this entry when the child is actually old enough to stand on land with their feet together and independently do some jumps on the land. If they're not jumping, we don't teach them how to jump into the pool. So once they can actually jump, we want them to stand with their toes on the edge of the pool, looking out to you, and we want to get them to jump into the water. So if they're not ready to just to jump straight in, we want to encourage them to jump into the water by splashing the water, making some noise in the water, ready, and jumping in to the water into your arms.
Go. This is if your child is not jumping independently or jumping too close to the wall, which they'll be going to hit their head. What the parent can do is go back to having the child still standing up with their toes over the edge of the wall, going and holding both of their hands, and the parent can step forward with pulling their child towards them, teaching them they have to come away from the wall to jump in. Once again, turning them around, kick, 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 and reaching for that wall. Once they have achieved that, clearing with two hands, the parent can go to holding one hand and encourage them in once again with that splashing and pulling them forward. Once again, clearing that wall. Turning around, kick, 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 and reaching for that wall. Once the child is confident with one hand, the parent can go back to standing away from the wall, encouraging the child to jump independently by themselves, clearing that wall.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
1, 2.
If the child is confident with one hand, the parent can go back to standing away from the wall, encouraging the child to jump independently by themselves, clearing that wall.
Yeah, it's a different thing.
1, 2. From the beginning, we teach all babies to reach to safety. So we want them to reach through the wall, reaching up and holding on. Initially, parents give their babies support to hold themselves on the wall, but as they get bigger and better, they can actually support themselves on the wall, holding on, and shouldn't actually need your help in holding onto the wall. And from there, we can actually teach them to climb out of the pool themselves.
This is done by the infant or the child holding onto the wall. Then they're going to push themselves up with their hands, coming onto their chest or their stomach. Once they are there, they then lift either knee up onto the wall with their knee, and they push themselves up like that. Then they turn around and can sit back down with their legs hanging into the water. This is done because we do not want children pulling themselves up and then putting their foot onto the wall. Some children can achieve getting out of the pool by doing this when they're young, but as they get older, they cannot do that anymore, and it's hard to get children out of that stage. So make sure they're using their knee to push themselves up onto the wall.